My name is Mike Alberts. I'm the Director of Player Development for Firecracker Sports. I've finished up a 17-year career as a Major League Scout. I started in 2000 with the Montreal Expos, stayed with them when they turned into the Washington Nationals, and finished my career with the Toronto Blue Jays. During that time, I did a mix of amateur scouting high school and college players, and 2 years of professional Major League scouting only the professional players. And when I got done with that, started my own company, Premium Baseball Advancement, which is a consulting program and for evaluation and placement of high school players, basically taking the things that I learned in Major League Professional Baseball of nutrition, conditioning, technique, strength and conditioning, personal development, goal setting, and kind of rolling that all into one for high school players that wanted to get better, to either play professional baseball someday or to play in college. And then wound up here also with Firecracker Sports, doing the player development, help organizing the showcases, put together development plans for players, and kind of be a liaison between the players and the college and pro coaches that come to our events. So the quick and easy answer is only 5 to 6% of high school players play in college, period, at any level, which that number quite honestly shocked me when I first saw it. I thought it was a lot higher. As far as playing Division I, that number is closer to 2% of all players actually play, high school players will play Division I baseball. And keep in mind, not all D1s are created equal. There's about 300 Division I baseball schools. And I think when the average player thinks of a D1 baseball program, he thinks of a Vanderbilt and Texas, ones that you see on TV. And if you go to the RPI rankings, you're going to find there's a lot of D1 schools down in the rankings that you may never have heard of. So just because a player says he played D1 doesn't mean it was at University of Texas or Florida State. It could be a lesser known D1. As far as the how to realize, how to figure out if you're in one of the percentages, it comes down to a lot of different factors. The self-assessment part is probably most important. You have to get a baseline to where you're at as a player. If you're a pitcher, that's going to be your miles per hour, all your intangibles, how tall are you, how old are you, your breaking pitches, and then you kind of want to match that to a college. If you were to do some research and pick a school, some of the better schools that play on TV, you can go on their website, you can look at their statistics, you may be able to see them play on TV, you may be able to see their miles per hour, for example, during the College World Series. But for an incoming player, I think one of the best ways to do that is to go onto their website, and you can look at their freshman class, but you can also look at their recruiting classes, and you can research those players and do some background on them. You can find them on some of the different websites and the companies that do rankings, and I think you'll come up with a common thread of what type of player goes to that school, maybe a part of the country or a certain metric. It could be that all the pitchers throw about 90 miles an hour. It could be anything, but I think that's the best way you would kind of match yourself up with those schools. In a general sense, there's plenty of places online where you can find, what is the average exit velo of a D1 hitter? What is the average miles per hour of a D1 pitcher? Those are a little broad, and they can mean different things based on the player. The average D1 pitcher may throw 90 miles an hour, but what does that mean to the 15-year-old 6'2" left-handed pitcher that's throwing 81 miles an hour? So you definitely have to scale it based on your age and your ability. And you can find those charts also as to what's the average velocity for a 15-year-old right-handed pitcher, what's the average velocity for an average 15-year-old left-handed pitcher, and you can kind of see where you're at, knowing that there is no exact formula to it, but the metrics will kind of keep you in line to where you fit in this process, knowing that some of the better D3s and D2s may have similar metrics to some of the lower D1s, which makes it a little bit more confusing. I think a lot of players that I deal with, they just think that worst case they're going to play D3 baseball, and that's not the case. A lot of these Division IIIs are very competitive, and even though the coaches may not be full-time at some of them, those coaches want to climb the ladder, and they want a better job, and they want to win. So when you get back to that 5 or 6% of high school players playing in college, I find that now it's getting harder and harder for players to find that home, even at a D3. I've always found the best way to do it is to contact the schools and keep track of who you contact. And if I'm going to if I have my metrics, if I have a player profile, if I have video, and I email that to 100 D1 college coaches and none of them respond, then I'm going to work my way down into Division II, into Division III, into NAIA, into JUCO. And then you kind of pay attention to the feedback you're getting from the coaches. And based on the feedback those coaches give you, I think, and if you keep track of it, you'll find where you fit in that. And when I say where you fit, that's where you fit for right now. So if you're a sophomore pitcher throwing 80 miles an hour and you email the D1 schools, you may not get much interest. But the following year, if you're a junior throwing 88 miles an hour, now when you approach those schools, they may have some interest. So the player is always changing. But for the most part, the schools, if you contact them, they'll give you the feedback. If you're honest with them, give them your video, give them your profile. I think they'll let you know if you're a fit for them or not, or if you're in the neighborhood. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed, please leave us a like. If you have a question for me that you'd like answered, please leave it in the comment section below. If you want to stay up to date on Scoutbook or any future content, please follow or subscribe below. Thanks for watching.